Now I know I'm not the only one who remembers Recess. TJ, Vince, Vicky, Grundle, Spaghetti, and Lovable Gig. Yeah, you remember. That gem of 90s kids TV recently had a failed pitch for a revival by the original creators, and it was certainly something. Reading it made me want to look back at the show and remember why it was so good, and kind of why any continuation may not be the best idea. Still, grab your wingadingas and your bonky and let's go back together.
Hey Teej, I got some great games. Stick around and let me cream ya.
Nah, I gotta get going.
Hey, it's Squirt. What?
I gulped, Spinelli, but it wasn't a satisfied gulp.
Recess was tender. A show that depicted the small issues and situations kids faced on the grandiose scale they felt to the characters.
Pushed him into the girls' bathroom.
What did you say?
I'm just telling you what I heard. They say the poor kid's so traumatized he's gonna miss a month of school.
It was the quintessential Disney show of the 90s, which tried to offer a sense of wholesome sincerity to viewers to stand out from the crazier lineups of Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. And while my heart is always with the latter offerings of Courage the Cowardly Dog or Ed, Ed and Eddie, I have a lot of fondness for this little show that could.
So then I said to the superintendent, that's no kindergartner, that's my wife.
It's over for you! This is the police!
Because it was that sincerity that was Recess's selling point, the core charm. You'd have a tense noir about who started a food fight, a rise and fall tycoon story with collectibles in lieu of money, or exploring the idea of death at a class hamster funeral. Then, when the recess bell rings, things have gotten back to normal. Sometimes itself a catalyst for the status quo, flying in as abruptly as it would in real life to hit that reset button. 6 seasons of these tight little 22-minute mono-mints, more than most Disney cartoons could dream of. It had a very good run, and even capped off with a theatrical film that kinda forgot what it was at points.
Sometimes I think you were put on this earth just to...
But it nailed it where it counts, with a strong message that while childhood can be hard at times, it's important to enjoy this rite of passage while it lasts. That while adults may seem like aliens from another planet, they're just you in a few years.
I'll let you in on a little secret, Detweiler. Every adult you've ever known was a kid at some time in his life. Some days I sit there in my office looking out at you kids on the playground and I think, they don't know how good they've got it. In a few years, they're all going to be grown-ups like me, and all those good times will just be memories for them too. But don't you ever say I don't care about summer vacation, because those memories are the last part of childhood I got left.
I mean, it's a hell of a stronger ending than what Fillmore got, which was nothing!
Oh, so that's how it's gonna be.
So why has there been this ongoing desire from fans to see it come back? We are slap bang in the middle of the age of 90s revivals, for sure. But is Recess a franchise worth violently shaking out of its long slumber? I think a big part in Recess's enduring legacy and fanbase is that they made huge efforts to make the show timeless. Even their episode on the playground economics of the current craze Pokemon made a point to depict it through puzzle pieces rather than Game Boys or trading cards. You could argue they may have even gone a little too far and depicted the creators' experiences of childhood in the 60s and 70s rather than reflect the 90s kids watching. Still, it gives the show a wholesome, simpler vibe, where outside swings and kickballs, kids had to make their own fun. Characters are defined by broad quirks, such as liking to dig, hanging upside down, or just being total cunts! And the playground itself is its own little society with culture and laws. It's why its iconic theming of being a prison at times keeps coming back, this idea of a self-contained society that kind of feeds off itself.
Spare us, Lawson. We've seen you 5th graders practice. Yeah, you guys.
Suck dick.
What was that, Detweiler?
You heard me. You guys.
Suck dick.
Even our lead TJ who starts the show and is immortalised in the opening as this Del Boy-esque wide man, quickly evolved into this Virgil Hilts, Atticus Finch-like figure.
A strong, young Negro man
who fights for kids' rights.
Finster's hidden stash of confiscated candy and gum. With skill, guts, and a little luck, all that wrongfully seized candy will be back in the hands of kids like us.
How can you own a jungle gym? How can you own the way the monkey bars feel in a kid's fingers when he's hanging in midair? How can you put a price on the cool, clean feel of a guy's butt?
I think we all remember one of the more well-known running jokes, where they'd have characters break down and scream to the heavens over very trivial shit.
That's it! I can't take it anymore! I get a jump! I swear I get a jump! No, don't do it! Somebody help him! That's it! I'm jumping! Ow! Oh!
In this sense, I've always seen Recess as the more down-to-earth big brother to Kids Next Door, which essentially had the same conceptual spirit, but with a much wilder high-concept execution and surprisingly deep lore.
I caught your two little weirdo friends trying on my bras.
Any modern recontextualization is inherently going to feel off for Recess. Characters with smartphones and modern social talking points would feel as tonally clashing as they would in, say, a K&D revival. But at the same time, it's not like you can continue the show without acknowledging the time difference. It's like you're between a cock and a hard place. There never really were kids like King Bob who ruled the playground, or Guru Kid who offered sage advice in real life, but they were extrapolations of types of kids that could exist. There's the rub of it all. You can't get away with a romanticised 70s view of childhood in 2024.
All my streaming videos on demand. I can't demand them anymore.
Oh, brother!
I'm sorry, Recess heads, I don't think the show could come back. Not really. It would, by its nature, be a different beast. And this leaked document, the pitch to bring the show back in current year, yeah, it's not Recess. Reading it, the biggest sin it commits is trying to have its cake and eat it too. It wants that quintessential spirit of childhood from a bygone era, while also ramming headfirst into as many modern things as it possibly can. If we look at the playground world, that self-contained context, we see that it fundamentally does not function in this reboot. The Ashleys were really straightforward. They were the rich mean girls, and also a tongue-in-cheek reference to Heathers.
Say hi to God.
Simple, straightforward. Every school had its haughty girl bullies, and here they're exaggerated into this weird, incestuous social club. The Reboot's new group, the Madisons, it's all over the place. They're still the rich mean girls, but they're also TikTok dancers, clout chasers, they're also repping non-binary kids. The concept is being pulled in way too many directions to be coherent. Which brings us to the new cast, which is hard for me to comment on outside our lead. They just kind of skim over them. I will say their roles seem a lot more specific. Oh, come on, don't tell me your school never had a Master of Disguise. Again, with the original gang, the idea was to go with broad quirks or broad stereotypes. The sports star, the nerd, the tough kid, the weedy coward. They Breakfast Clubbed it, showing there was more layers to them, and it added how wholesome it was that kids this different would be such close friends.
What do you say we pair old buddy Randall a little lip-sipping visit?
Way ahead of you, Vin. Nobody goes around telling lies about my friends and gets away with it.
The new ones are a side note. Instead, it's unfortunately painfully obvious that the major focus has been spent on the returning old cast. Yet dichotically, these time skip variants might as well be pulled from a fanon wiki, so little do they resemble themselves. And I mean it, it truly does shock me that the original creators are involved in this pitch at all. It just fills a veritable bingo card of bad fanfiction tropes. You've got a romance ship with no setup in the original show, characters killed off for drama, that aforementioned hyper-focus on current trends.
Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
And a ridiculous list of wild character achievements. Spaghetti, in particular, not only acing the police academy, she was top class in art school.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Led a punk band that headlined Coachella, and then became a famous lawyer. And while I'd hope no one's losing sleep over a recess ship not working out, it doesn't make it less jarring that one they referenced so often in the original show is just replaced by one they never did.
You must be BJ. He's the one our little honey bunny has the crush on.
And Vince. We all know who Vince really loves.
Why did I leave him? I should have stayed. I should have done something.
And poor TJ, the dude gets cooked and apparently it ruins his life somehow. So Spinelli and TJ do end up together briefly off screen, but it can't have gone that well. Spinelli breaks up with him because she just likes girls. Until Vince comes along and suddenly she likes boys as well. Ooh, ouch.
I'm in no luck, I'm a cuck, watching him give her a lame
They could have come up with any reason for it not working out between the two. I don't know why they went that route. As for her just meteoric successes, I mean, just goddamn, pick a lane. It's overkill, and every character is like this. Vince is a world-class basketball-playing genius, a coach, a TV sportscaster, and then a mayor. Gretchen is a NASA scientist who takes down Elon Musk, and is apparently a fashion model too.
I want a diamond ring, I want some bracelets and everything. Daddy, you better get the best for me. I kind of think that I'm me.
You see this a lot in revivals. It reeks of the writers falling in love with their own legacy, and going overboard with giving their characters happy endings. I also have a specific issue with the direction they'd have taken Gus. While adding a trans rep isn't a problem by any means, I find it short-sighted to choose him of all characters. The reoccurring lesson Gus learned was that you didn't have to fit any stereotypical tropes to be a boy. It was okay that he was bad at sports, or short, or nerdy, or scared sometimes. There are no requirements you have to meet. A fantastic message for young male watchers, a life lesson important to learn.
Now watch closely, Spinelli. I'm only gonna do this once. Step, step, sashay.
Now there's someone who could have used a good mother.
Whore!
But in this show, I guess it would now retroactively be, oh, he really wasn't a boy the whole time. It's a situation not so dissimilar from the series Saint Seiya, and the character Shun Andromeda. In the original, Shun was made to kind of buck gender stereotypes. He was very feminine, didn't like fighting, but still very much a man. But when Netflix decided to adapt the series, they chose to gender bend him into being a female. He was already not masculine, so what's the difference, right?
Right? Wrong!
Well, to do so is to not understand the character, to miss all the messages being conveyed through them. Like with Gus, they ironically went from defying to enforcing gender stereotypes. They're not seeing the forest for the trees.
I have father issues.
I don't know. Maybe someone like Menlo would have made more sense, it just doesn't feel right here.
The only balls I'm using right now is the one in this ballpoint pen. Sometimes I wonder, is he?
That's a good question, Gretch. A question that might require some investigation.
But you know, at least Gus got it better than fan favourite Mikey. Oh, this dude. He became a world-famous opera singer / cult leader. They don't really go into much detail there. I guess he made fucking Bonky's Gate or something. But then he fucking dies! For some artificial drama. If you asked me what 90s children cartoon would come back and kill off a main character for a surprise, the last show I would ever guess would be Recess. The only follow-up I dug was Randall as the new principal. Totally fits the character, and you could even have the new cast get him to finally learn to ease up, just like the originals did with Prikley.
You are so dreamy.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
A kind of fun way to develop what was a very two-dimensional villain made purely to be hated.
How deliciously moist. How very, very moist.
Shut up! But sounds like that wasn't the case here. His plan to turn the school into literally a prison is too outlandish and leaning into the worst parts of the film.
Girls kissing boys, boys kissing boys, and you know what else? We're all gonna like it!
You know, there was this period not long ago where people were reimagining Rugrats characters as adults.
We're clearly not babies. We're adults now.
And it was this kind of stuff again. All super beautiful, very hipstery, very successful. And then one of the animators came out and said, excuse me, the show wasn't about the most talented, perfect, beautiful people in the world. No one can relate to that. Tommy is the son of a teacher and a failed toy maker. He wouldn't grow up to be a model/scientist. He'd grow up to be like you or me.
Hey! Pull my finger!
I've lost control of my life.
And to go back to this idea of recess seeking to be timeless, a common reoccurring comment I'm seeing from fans is they don't really want to see the recess kids as adults. They wanted them to remain kids and in their memories. I can appreciate that, to be honest. I think any fan of a series that's gone on too long or had a bad revival laments on the lost art of leaving well enough alone. I'm glad this wasn't picked up. While the common defense is, well, the original show is still there, bad continuations like Clone High or Korra show that a cartoon's legacy can still be hurt. And if you love a series, obviously it sucks to see that, or to revisit the old show and know that these weird futures are quote-unquote canon for the characters. I mean, I was like tearing my hair out watching season 5 of Samurai Jack, good lord! Recess had a very strong run, and a touching send-off in the film between Principal Prikley and TJ. It encapsulated what the show was before seeing Tej run off to go grow up. We knew he'd be fine, just like we knew we were gonna be fine. What a nice note to leave the show on. That's it. Let's leave it alone.
See all this stuff? Swing set, jungle gym, sandbox. Well, they're the past.
You know, there's a great shot at the end of the film that highlights how redundant the idea of a grown-up recess is. In the show, the playground is portrayed almost like a small town, with a lot of districts and territories and landmarks. For fuck's sake! With a lot of districts and territories and landmarks. But as TJ runs off into the distance to go grow up, we finally see just how small their world actually is. I think anyone who's ever revisited an old school or an old home knows that feeling of having outgrown a place. And that's a nice bittersweet ending to leave the show on. I mean, that's Recess. What more do you actually need?
Hey guys, now my lunch wonk.
Boo! You stink!
Thanks for watching my silly Recess video. Have we got other ones? Thank you. Say thank you.
Thank you.
See you next time.